Good morning everybody, my name is Dave, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about these things. This is a viscous fan. This attaches to your engine, the fan blade's attached to there, that rotates, and it uses a thing called silicone oil. There's a part number if anybody needs it. It is 08816-10001. That is a Toyota product, silicone oil, specifically for these fans. So how do they work? Well, this one was split in half by Rob, my son, many years ago. This is not the actual one I'll be using, replenishing. They have a seal between the two faces. It fits in here. This no longer will go in. If I was to reuse this seal, I'd trim a bit off and reseal it and put a bit of silicone on. The two halves are held together with round-headed screws which will strip, and they'll be really tight because they've been in there for years. So the reason I'm not doing my viscous coupling is because I can't get it apart, and I've ordered a manual bolt extractor. What happens? How do these work? Well, it all starts with this bimetallic strip right here. So when your engine's turning, that's normal, air comes across, heats up. The bimetallic strip turns the thing in the centre. It's locked here, turns the thing in the centre. So what happens? These two screws here, all they do is adjust this plate to allow that valve to be sealed. So you don't really want to adjust them if you're going to help it, unless you need to. The plate underneath there you can see in there, I'll try brightening it up a bit. So as the bimetallic strip rotates, it opens up this flat plate in here and opens up these two valves. That allows silicone oil to be ejected into these grooves, and then eventually into this slot at the end here, and then back into the reservoir. Now, if the engine's still hot, the silicone oil comes straight back out and back into the coupling again, keeping it stiff. Now I say stiff, the whole idea of it is the engine heats up, the fan needs to be more rigid. So this will turn and keep the engine cool. Once the engine's cooled down, the oil thickens up again, the two valves close, keeping the reservoir full of oil in there. All the oil eventually will go back into there and not come through again because this is closed off. And that then frees up the fan to be able to turn and not do so much work. There's two logical reasons why you would use a viscous fan. One is because when the engine is ticking over and it's cool, it doesn't need a fan. Therefore, the fan will just rotate. It allows the engine to take back some horsepower that it loses by driving the fan. The second reason is to stiffen up the fan when it needs the fan blades to be turning. Now, in the olden days, what we used to do, we used to just bolt the fan straight to the engine and it would turn the whole time. Well, some boffin somewhere has deduced that that uses a certain amount of fuel and a certain amount of horsepower. So you've got the heat fins on here to dissipate the heat out of the coupling, and you've got the fan which gets rigid and turns and draws cool air in, blows it over the engine. If the fan has got no fluid in it, it will continue to free spin and it won't be as efficient. So it's probably a good idea to just check your fluid. I would definitely have a manual bolt extractor. The problem is the screws get so tight that they need shocking loose. Apart from that, I think that's about it. So I'm going to replace my bolts that hold these two together with hex head bolts or Allen key bolts, whichever I've got. That's the bolts, not the studs that stick up here. These are what hold the fan on. That's where these four nuts go on. Like so, to hold the fan in place. No, what I'm talking about are these bolts here. They go through and screw into the bottom half, like so. The problem being that these bolts get so tight that you can't loosen them. Impact drive is its proper name. It's a handheld impact drive that you hit with a hammer. The shock of the hit shocks it into turning mechanism. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you when we actually do this job. I'm waiting for an impact driver coming. Once the impact driver arrives, it'll do the job. And we'll video that and I'll put that online.